XARP Army. The globe is suddenly immersed in what is likely one of the biggest news stories of this generation after Trump did the absolutely unthinkable, which few people were anticipating. Indeed, this is having an effect on XRP, Bitcoin, the whole cryptocurrency market, and stocks. Everything, including oil prices, is going through a chaotic period right now. You've undoubtedly noticed the insane volatility that XRP is experiencing at the moment. On this channel, we've been discussing a huge dump on XRP for a while. I'm going to tell you all about what I'm doing and what I think is the best course of action at this moment, since it's the Black Swan event I've been waiting for. That is merely my personal view. To none of you, it is not financial advice. I want to be really clear about that. However, I am making the most of the current situation because, to be honest, I believe we have a fantastic chance at this time. But those are just my opinions. Now let's discuss what's going on. It's likely that some of you have heard that the US is becoming involved in the Iran issue. I won't go into too much detail regarding the politics and current events there, but it does affect world oil supplies since, in case you were unaware, 20% of the world's oil goes through the Strait of Hormuz. And in reaction to the recent acts of the United States, Iran has declared that they will block this channel. What does this mean now? This implies that there will undoubtedly be an increase in oil costs. 20% of the world's oil supply is a huge amount. As a result, there is significantly less rivalry for the existing oil companies. Naturally, this means that everyone who currently produces oil and ships it via these lines will suffer enormous losses. Furthermore, this implies that many people will be without oil for a considerable amount of time. If Iran ever does carry out this plan, it will be far from when oil prices rise. How much will this worsen the situation? More dangerous assets are completely destroyed. Simply said, this is how markets often function. So assets such as Bitcoin, XRP, and other cryptocurrencies are typically completely destroyed in the near term before recovering in a V-shape when we eventually discover a solution. However, the situation is becoming increasingly complex by the moment, since Russia's Security Council head was recently quoted as stating that several nations are prepared to provide Iran with this directly. I won't even use this word, but it's clear that everyone in the globe is concerned about this. Naturally, following what has already occurred, this is making the markets even more apprehensive and doubtful. As you can see, Russia and the US do not have a close alliance, and many people are concerned about Russia's actions in the wake of the recent events involving the US and Iran. He added that Iran will continue to enrich this particular material and produce these particular weapons in the future. Russia is expressing its position rather clearly. China is an ally of Iran and supports Russia as well. Given that the US recently joined a direct conflict, it appears that things are getting more problematic. With another nation that has allies with certain influential people, we'll just call it that. This is essentially what Trump stated when he returned. Iran will face even more force than what was seen tonight if it retaliates against the United States of America. Thank you. Trump is once again making his positions extremely apparent. Iran shouldn't react. Iran has declared that it will react by cutting off 20% of the global oil supply. What is Michael Saylor's reaction to this? He claims that he will purchase additional Bitcoin. All right, I also want to make things very clear. Personally, I believe that purchasing XRP at this time, when it is at its lowest, is a fantastic idea. And to show you why I think that way, I'll offer you some historical instances. I wish I could travel back in time to April, when the tariff fights were at their height. We observed that the price of XRP has drastically dropped. It was trading at $217, right before the trade conflicts sort of started. Quite close to where we were trading prior to the recent severe downturn. $217 for each coin. After that, it dropped as low as $1.61 per coin, bottoming out there before rising back to where we began, right here at $218 per coin, correct? This V right here makes it abundantly evident to me, at least, that these kinds of large price reductions are short-lived, since both institutions and retail usually purchase these dips. At the beginning of the month, during the tariff warfare, we saw yet another instance of a V-shaped recovery. What we observed at this moment was that XRP was trading at $2.61 per coin. Very rapidly, It dropped all the way to 189 before bottoming out and then rising back up to 258 per coin. Guess what would have happened if you had purchased at the bottom of both of these scenarios, at $2 a coin or at $180 or some other price, and then sold up here again? It would have been great for you. Depending on when you purchased, you could have earned over 100 returns on 5x, 2x, 3x, or even 4x leverage. Additionally, this has also occurred here. You know, we were trading up here at 260 on February 24th. We drop all the way to 195 right here, only to gain 34% the following day and rise back to $3. Isn't that correct? Again, you're doing fantastically if you sell any place in that area. Therefore, I do believe that we will witness another V-shaped recovery when I consider this kind of situation. That's what I believe will happen, based on my premise. I purchased this red day, as you can see. That red day, I bought that red day, I bought this red day, and no, I'm not investing my entire capital in each purchase. Isn't that how I've been able to buy 4 times in the previous 6 days? I'm putting 15%, 15%, 15%, and then loading a little more into my futures account. I'm going to keep buying because I've witnessed this V-shaped recovery so many times that I'm very sure that if I can find this bottom, I'm going to be killing it. Just take a look at this completely crazy candle that we saw here on February 3rd, don't you think? In a single day, we saw a high of 277 and a low of 177. After hitting 177, we ended that candlestick higher than where we began. I've never seen a more ridiculous candle in my entire life than this one. However, that is the kind of thing that is feasible in the current market. Additionally, irrational decisions are driven by fear, which causes institutions to liquidate people and retail sellers to drop prices so they can purchase it for even less. Right after that, we witness the sharp increase in price, don't we? That's what I believe will occur in this situation. I'd like to be clear now. Crypto is a dangerous field. Every day, a great number of people are being liquidated. Many people are trading with ridiculous leverage, which is something they should never do. In any case, I believe that using 100x leverage when trading in the cryptocurrency market is the most foolish thing you can do. I have had great success trading with a maximum leverage of 5 times. I have a 100% success rate in the last 6 months when I trade the way I do now. Guys, buy these dips. Establishing these trigger commands, identifying the important resistance and support lines, then trading based on them. Examining the random RSI. This is a farewell, given that we are currently oversold based on the stochastic RSI that measures that. All I'm hearing are the technical details. The geopolitics are what I'm listening to. My decisions are based on the historical instances I'm listening to, yet I could always be mistaken. But as I mentioned in the previous 6 months, I have 100% accuracy on these kinds of plays. So instead of freaking out and declaring the end of the world, as everyone has claimed 10 times in the last 6 months, I'm sharing that information with Crypto Crusaders for free. You can participate here.